Holocaust School. So this is a school you can go to and learn about the Holocaust. I went to school and learned about the Holocaust multiple times.
Okay.
It was a bit weird. Like, we did it in religious class, we did it in history class, and all the rest of it multiple times, which was strange, but okay, we learned all about the Holocaust. I didn't get this kind of Holocaust school, which is almost like Holocaust reenactment school, which you could attend, apparently. So this is Fox News reporting here. DC schools investigating Holocaust lesson in which students told to play Hitler, simulate grave digging, and also apparently some hate speech was used.
Oh, no.
By who? We don't know. So the teachers involved told the kids, one of you is going to be Hitler. For now and forever, apparently, because if there was a photo of that kid's never living it down.
Yeah.
Which is one thing.
I'm so curious how they chose Hitler as well.
But also we're going to divide up the kids into the Nazis and the Jews are going to be forced to dig their own graves. I don't know if this is the right way to teach about the Holocaust, but it's pretty extreme. Anyway, so let's read the details here. So DC schools... Public Schools tells Fox News on Monday that it launched an investigation after elementary students reportedly were instructed to reenact the Holocaust. I don't know if they had play guns as well or what, I don't know. Including portraying Adolf Hitler and digging ditches to serve as mass graves. The lesson apparently given to third graders at the Watkins Elementary School library on Friday.
Wait, how old are third graders? 8?
I don't know, but that's like primary school, isn't it?
Yeah, that's like 8 years old or something, isn't it?
Secondary school. I bet if you said the Holocaust to them, they can't even pronounce it properly. But okay, they're going to be digging mass graves themselves. So the students said they felt traumatized by the whole thing, according to one
I'm not
parent.
surprised.
Which, yeah. I mean, if I had to dig my own grave, I'd be pretty upset. Anyway, last week we received a report of a classroom of students receiving a lesson that included portraying different perspectives on the Holocaust. Different perspectives. Such as living it, I suppose. I mean, that's a perspective.
We generally don't teach the Nazi perspective on the Holocaust either, do
It's
we?
a first-person perspective.
Oh, God.
It's like a first-person shooter for all the kids. IRL. Students should never be tasked with acting out any atrocity, especially war or genocide, said the DC Public Schools to Fox News in a statement. It's just like, when do you have to get to that point? It's like, I don't think third graders should be made to reenact the Holocaust. I thought we were all on that page, but apparently not. Okay. Additionally, there were allegations of a staff member using hate speech during the lesson, which is unacceptable and not tolerated at any of our schools.
So wait, hang on. Was the teacher just living out their own strange racist fantasy in this lesson?
They just really want to kill the Jews, I guess. And they were like, well, I've got some kids and half an hour to kill. I'll divide them up. And I'll put it off as a history lesson. Because apparently they submitted some kind of lesson plan and it didn't include any of this, obviously, or it wouldn't be approved. So then they just did this for lols, I guess. But also the hate speech did come from the staff member involved. So the staff member was presumably also playing the role of a Nazi.
Yeah, a natural role for many teachers, I'm sure.
I mean, you can't really do hate speech against Nazis, apparently. So she was doing what exactly? Well, presumably talking to the kids playing the Jews and using slurs about Jews. I don't know what else it could be. So that's what happened in the classroom. You've got half the kids digging their own graves while being called the K word by their teacher. I mean, it is horrifying, but it's also just so absurd. That's why I'm laughing. So imagine being one of the kids. Imagine being told by, your kids that went on in the classroom. Would you believe them?
Yeah. Well, if you did, homeschoolers never looked so attractive right now.
I mean, we've talked about grooming your kids. I mean, how are they going to turn them into Jews and be called the K word all day? Right. The district also said the staff member involved in the incident has been placed on leave pending an investigation. I don't know what you're hoping to find more than this, but okay. This was not an approved lesson plan, yet no S, and we sincerely apologise to our students and families who were subjected to this incident, the DC Public School Boards added, saying it was committed to creating a welcome environment for all kids. Except, I don't know, the Jew ones who were going to be put in the Jew camps and made to dig their own graves. I don't know if it's a welcoming environment for the kids being forced to be Nazis either. I mean, could you imagine if some of the kids who were Jewish got put into the Nazi camp? They're like, yeah, you're a Nazi now.
Again, traumatizing.
Oh boy. In a letter sent home to parents, the principal of Watkins Elementary School, citing reports he had received, said the lessons included students being asked to portray participants in the Holocaust, like Adolf Hitler, digging the ditches, and simulated shootings. So they were with, I don't know, finger guns or toy guns or something, all shooting them into the graves afterwards. And then they all fell down. I don't know how the rhyme goes for this one, but radio. My husband picked up our child after school, and there was a lot of sobbing and crying and distress, one mother told the station. Yeah, I mean, if I'd just been shot in my own grave. The mother claimed her child was told to pretend to choke and die inside a gas chamber and had to watch students simulate digging their own graves. So, okay, they also gassed the kids. The teacher really wanted to gas some Jewish kids, or at least really wanted to see Jews getting gassed, and so had her kids in the classroom do it. Place your bets now on what kind of teacher this is going to be.
That's a very good question.
Who's had an opinion on the Jews recently? It's not the right. The parent added that the child instructed to portray Hitler is not doing well at all. I love that. He's not all right. He's upset at being clown Hitler, or just the class Hitler, I guess. I mean, you got the class clown. I guess.
Well, could you imagine, like, an 8-year-old comes home and is like, "Mummy, Daddy, I got to play Hitler today."
I mean, if he's Eric Cartman, he's ecstatic about the whole thing. But,
yeah.
I mean, you're going to be Hitler. I mean, did he even get a choice in that? Like, I wonder if the teacher just came in with, like, the whitest kid. We'll pick him.
Well, it's going to be the sort of thing when you're 8 years old. It's like, oh, who wants to be the bus driver or something like that? And some kid's like, oh, me.
You can drive the buses to the camps. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole thing is just so like, what was anyone thinking? But we'll find out what they're thinking in a minute. So another quote saying that they were traumatized. One parent told that their child was worried that the teacher in question was hiding in their house. So, I don't know, they went home and then thought the teacher...
Well, probably by some of the content that they would have gone through in this reenactment of the Holocaust, that would be a reasonable fear. If the teachers are like, oh, they're going to drag you out of your house and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but also, like, presumably that kid also played one of the Jews and was, being called the K word by the teacher.
Yep.
And then is going home and is like, that teacher's going to come out of my closet and call me the K word again.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty messed up. The mother, who wished to remain anonymous, told Fox, children are having nightmares and generally having a very hard time. The school is reportedly offering counselling to all students involved, which...
This is what you pay your taxes for, Americans.
American education at its finest. Elementary school kids shooting their other classmates. And
gassing them, let's not forget.
Their teacher jumps up and down behind them going, yeah, get that, K-words. Okay. So I said place your bets on what kind of teacher this was going to be. Mm-hmm. Do you have one in mind?
Yes, I do. I reckon it's going to be a leftist teacher.
You've got it in one. So let's go to Andy No here, who has the deets, because he does very good reporting, and in here has just found the teacher in question and then found their social media history and just shows us it. And, well... Big shock. It's a hyper-leftist. Is
her name literally Kimberlyn Jerkovsky?
Yes.
That's an unfortunate name.
Does sound like a joke name, but, she's born with it. Anyway, the DC school librarian who directed young children to reenact the Holocaust through pretending to dig ditches for mass graves and simulated shooting of their classmates has a social media history of showing support for BLM and other leftist causes, Andy writes. If we can scroll down on this to the next tweet underneath this one, he also points out some other stuff here, saying she was previously convicted for fraud for scamming her prior school district out of $24,000 and was also charged with animal cruelty and now child cruelty, presumably.
Jesus Christ. They're not sending their best, are they?
No. The librarian often reposted content from Yvette Falaka, the leader of California Antifa group By Any Means Necessary, which I'm sure some of the older folks will remember. And if we can open up some of these images on there just to show the various posts, and you can see that it's her Facebook account poking stuff here, and then you have Yvette Falaka, apparently still employed at Berkeley, somehow.
Keep our children safe. That's a bit ironic, isn't it, considering...
Yvette Falaka saying this. Do you remember Yvette Falaka?
I remember Yvette Falaka.
Yeah, because Cole made some good videos on her back in the day just showing what she was like.
Just a raving lunatic.
Yeah, and if you have forgotten, we'll go to just some reporting on this. I actually found a source which is very sympathetic to her and her cause of anarchism, and I thought we'd just demonstrate their version of events, which even makes her look bad. So as we can see here, Berkeley side reporting, Berkeley teacher Yvette Falaka arrested on charges of inciting a riot. So this was, what was it? Assault and inciting a riot as well?
Yes, I don't think this is at all an uncharitable interpretation of what happened if you look at the footage.
Yeah, she's also, as just a local terrorist, been doing other things which, like I mentioned, or you can see in the videos, of just her working with Antifa to try and gin up revolution. And unfortunately, this does have a sad ending, which is that she got found convicted but didn't really give much of a sentence. So if we go to the next one
What a
here,
surprise.
So I was really hoping we'd have a nice little bit here in which she actually got to serve her time in prison for what she's done. But anyway, instead, she got given community service, she says. And her response to this, she gave a little speech. "This is a victory," said Falaka. "Of course I'm relieved. It's just been a long process and a struggle. I'm really so happy for all three of us. To me, it's a real affirmation of standing by your convictions."
In other words, getting convicted and standing by the sentence.
But also just American justice system at work. Standing by your convictions. So being a POS who goes around attacking people because they've got different political views and trying to gin up some kind of revolution. In the United States, that gets you now community service. You can go out and injure people or start a riot and get community service.
Yeah, and there are records of how she runs her Antifa cell like it's a cult as well. Like people are locked in rooms or kept in rooms and things. They're cut off from their relatives and their family. They're indoctrinated into this sort of very far left radical messaging. And she's allegedly the one in charge of all of this in her local area. And community service, that's all she gets, typical.
Yeah, although she only gets community service because, of course, she's a leftist in a leftist state. And, well, she gets immunity from the law then, doesn't she, apparently? So moving on, we do have some good news, at least, which is the legal system does still work, apparently, for suing people, because a conservative group did sue her and ended up getting $20,000 ordered out of her. So she is ordered to give Judicial Watch $20,000, which there's some justice. But
Not bad.
It didn't come from the courts system going after her for the assault. Instead, it had to come from some other unrelated lawsuit, which is nice. Anyway, getting back to the Holocaust school teacher, which her local Holocaust school. So this is Andy Doe posting some more information here, which is she also posted frequently in support of Black Lives Matter, critical race theory, and leftist causes. She is now being investigated for having young school children reenact the scenes, as mentioned, including being gassed to death. And you can see some of the posts there. You've got this weird, like, intersectional Black Lives Matter fist flag with a petition to dismantle institutionalized racism. I mean, the usual stock rhetoric you can expect from these people. These are the kind of teachers, if you hire, what would they do? Crazy stuff.
Yeah, they'll indoctrinate your kids.
Yeah, and if we can move on from this, there's some more images here. So you can see her posting more stuff there from We Want Reparations. Okay. And then the last two here are the most interest, of course, being her promoting critical race theory, particularly.
Ibram X. Kendi. How to be an anti-racist.
How to be an anti-racist. And then the last one here being the book recommendations that she wants you to go out and buy. Also, White Fragility there, or So You Want to Talk About Race, and all of these being recommended.
Yeah, I mean, each one of these is a rival for Mein Kampf, to be fair, in terms of the sheer racist content in there.
Well, you know about the essay spoof.
Yeah.
So do you want to explain?
So this is this James Lindsay, and so they essentially took extracts from Mein Kampf, reworded it in terms of people of colour and disadvantaged or marginalised groups in terms of an intersectional perspective, and managed to get Mein Kampf basically published in a mainstream academic journal.
The best part is if you go and find the portion of Mein Kampf they're talking about, I went and got it and read the original, and it's Hitler talking about the schooling system and how we need to reform the schooling system so we can breed little national socialists all over the country. I was like, right, yeah, so it's literally just indoctrination but change national socialism for intersectionalism.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Anyway, moving on from this. So let's go to the next one, which is where the anti-Semite stuff becomes more of a question. Because as you can see here, Andy mentions, she shared a video promoting the anarchist Communist Union International Workers of the World alongside posts in support of black nationalism groups and Nation of Islam. Nation of Islam. And if we can click on the last one there, of course, it's the Minister Louis Farrakhan, who's very famous for saying, "I'm not an anti-Semite, I'm an anti-termite," which, no, that's an anti-Semite, is what that is. Let's not waste our time. And her promoting him and promoting that he didn't do nothing. No, he did do something, which is be an anti-Semite, which is just, I don't think that's arguable, really. Anyway.
Yeah, his messaging is like wall-to-wall anti-Jewish nonsense.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's Holocaust School, and the Holocaust School teacher there who is on leave and will presumably be fired, and if not fired, what the hell is wrong with that school board? But, well, it's up to the parents then to go and fix it or take their students out, quite frankly, because that's the system.
Yeah, I mean, like, the system, the worse the schools get, the more you have to think, okay, do I really want to send my children into this system? And obviously most parents don't have the option of sending their kids to private schools, so you then have to start looking at homeschooling options and things like that. I think, was it Hugo did a podcast and he was talking about, on our website, a Contemplations, talking about essentially alternatives to mainstream education, which our viewers might find useful, especially if they live in DC.
Especially if you're maybe a Jew living in DC as well. You're thinking about sending your kids to school. Maybe check the teacher aren't some kind of like raving anti-Semites who are going to have your kids shot and
gassed.
And call them the K word while they're at it, which, again, how did she think she was going to get away with this? I mean, I know they get away with a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've seen in Virginia or in California, it's been blown up.
They reintroduced segregation in one school, didn't they?
But good God. Okay, yeah, we're going to kill all the Jewish kids in the classroom. Right. Okay. That's not going to get noticed, is it? Lunatics. But I thought we'd mention a side thing here, which I don't know where to put, but I thought was of interest, which is stopantisemitism.org. So this is some organization which apparently tries to track anti-Semitism. And they're a bit hit and miss, let's say.
Okay.
So they can, as for example here, I mean, this is a pretty simple case. Maybe don't set up the Holocaust in your classroom. It's pretty friggin' weird, and Stop Anti-Semitism pointing out that this story is, of course, horrific, and that she shouldn't have been there anyway. But also, there was a really funny story of these kind of organizations falling for silly things as well, which I have to mention because I think it's just hilarious how bad some of these organizations are at finding out what is real anti-Semitism and what is just obviously a troll. Right. So let's go to the next one, just try and cheer ourselves back up for that ridiculous nonsense, which is stopantisemitism.org tweeting out, disgusting Holocaust denial by popular YouTuber Nicardo Avocado. 5 million followers on YouTube. He tells them that the Holocaust was exaggerated. Susan Wojcicki, this must be addressed. This must be stopped. People who don't know, this is a guy who his entire YouTube channel is just him eating food. Like ridiculous amounts of food.
Okay.
Like he's gotten ridiculously fat because of it. And it's kind of a meme. And I think the joke is essentially like if I live less than him, then something's gone terribly wrong because he should be dead from obesity at that point. And someone cut in, as you can see, just like screenshots of Google searches about the Holocaust and then cut in like random clips of him, like audio tracks, in which he's just like, yeah, that's exaggerated. And it just cuts. And then it just cuts to something else, then cuts to something else. Like it's so obviously crap. So if we go to the next one, people can go and check out the video if they want in their own time as well, which is just it's such obvious cuts and it's so obviously faked. Like you can see the cut there. Yeah. And it just cuts again, just random words in random sentences all put together. And apparently Stop Anti-Semitism.org actually fell for that, which is just pathetic. Yeah. But anyway, that's Holocaust School. I don't think you should sign up your kids. It looks like it's being shut down. If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, you can go over to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the sites, such as this video, which is a speech I gave at one of our live events, in which we read Germany Must Perish. So it's also a book club review, and I won't spoil a thing. Go and enjoy. Also, if you'd like to get updates on what's coming out, you can always follow us on getter.com. That's lotuseaters_com for the @. Thank you and goodbye.